Namaste. Good evening, everyone. I'm Pallavi Ramane, Incubation Manager of AIC Rambho Margi Prabodhini, supported by Atal Innovation Mission Niti Aayog. Welcome to the sixth episode of Baatchit. This is a platform where we invite mentors, experts, entrepreneurs, academicians, and various stakeholders from the startup ecosystem to speak and share their thoughts, showcase their work, and seize the new opportunities. As you know, academic campuses play an important role in fostering innovation and entrepreneurship. They nurture game changing ideas of student entrepreneurs. And the professors who are entrepreneurship educators provide them the right kind of guidance, showcase opportunities, and the motivation to explore and experiment. In today's Bachit, we have with us Dr. Hasina Sayyed from Jahin College and Dr. George Abraham from SIS College. They are going to share the experiences of creating student entrepreneurs from their own campuses, activities of their e-cells, and the role of incubators like AIC RMP in supporting their endeavors. Let me briefly introduce Hasina Madam first. Dr. Hasina Sayyed is an associate professor and HOD of commerce at Jahin College. She comes up with more than 35 years of teaching experience. She is a certified entrepreneurship educator from NEN Stanford University. She was entrepreneur faculty educator for Pradhan Mantri Yuva Yojana, which is under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. She was even nominated for an award, Emerging Entrepreneur Educator by NEN and Ministry of Skill and Development. But most importantly, I think she has nurtured hundreds of student entrepreneurs over past 3 decades. So with this, Dr. Hasina Madam, I would like to welcome you and I would like to request you to introduce George sir and take this Bachit forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi, and good evening to all. And thank you, Pallavi, for this very warm introduction. And it's always a great pleasure to be talking about anything concerned with entrepreneurship, as it's the most pressing need today. We will be chatting with Dr. George Abraham here, who is an associate professor of chemistry from SIS College. And knowing Dr. George since past few months, I know that he's very, very passionate about entrepreneurship. And though he formed an e-cell, a structure very late as 2018 in his campus, he was involved in entrepreneurship since a very, very long time, much before that. And with the support of AIC RMP from 2018 onwards, where they signed an MOU, they have been doing multifarious activities, not getting cowed down by COVID at all, and doing multifarious activities and taken the campus on a big lead and turned out very good entrepreneurs from the campus. So very warm welcome, Dr. George, and looking forward for a great Bachit amongst us.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for a very nice introduction.
Dr. George, let's talk about whether we feel, what do you think that entrepreneurship, how important is entrepreneurship education on campus today?
As I look at it, I think it is the need of the hour. Because most of the traditional colleges, we have a mindset, and I will tell you my mindset, and then I would like to divulge a little more. My mindset about an entrepreneur was my first head of the Department of Economics, Professor Asha Gala. She would do a lot of work on entrepreneurship way back in the 90s. So I used to think that it is a part of economics and commerce. Later on, the BMS department by Dr. Anita Agarwal was heading it. So I just kept away from it. But at the same time, I was trying to learn what is going on. And for that, I've been visiting a lot of campuses. I attend a lot of FDB programs, because unless I understand the actual meaning of entrepreneurship, I will not be able to percolate it down to the students. And this is a problem which is faced by most campuses, because most of the people who are there in the traditional colleges have not a big idea about this new dimension. Because if I'm able to combine the traditional knowledge with the entrepreneurship model, I think that I will be having a large group of students who would like to become entrepreneurs over a period of time. No doubt we need a lot of explanation to be given to them, lot of mentoring to be given to them, lot of alumni interaction should also be there, because alumni is a backbone for any entrepreneurship activity in college, because they are available for us free, and many of them would like to come back to our college and willingly donate it, willingly give their resources. Like in my case, most of the batches from 94, 96, 98, they're coming virtually free on our campus. So, and during the last lockdown in May and June, we ran 2 programs for about 900 teachers all over India, as well as for students to get an idea about this entrepreneurship. And I feel that, teachers don't know that there are so many schemes available for funding. If there are so many schemes available for funding, and the students should know how to apply for it. So all that can be done very easily by good direction. And for that, I would require experts to come into the college. And that is possible if we are able to run some small FDB programs from time to time. And entrepreneurship cannot be a mass gathering. It can be maximum of 20 to 30 students at a time you can mentor.
Okay, Dr. George, yeah, I completely agree with you that the faculty mindset is very important. And I also understand the fact that entrepreneurship education is the need of the hour today. And entrepreneurship is basically a mindset that we need to introduce with our students. A mindset of thinking innovatively, a mindset of thinking very differently and developing their own uniqueness. So this is what is recognized today. How is everybody so different from the other? And actually, in campuses today, with the kind of the new education policy and the earlier education that the students were in, you see what happened is all the students are doing so well. All of them are getting O grades academically, doing so well. So, people are seeking people who are different, people who have that uniqueness. And entrepreneurship builds that kind of uniqueness. Entrepreneurship builds that kind of differentiation amongst the, the general crowd. So it stands out. And not only looking at the students' point of view, but even looking at the campus point of view today, the new education policy that is implemented last year, they talk a lot about entrepreneurship. They talk about a lot of experiential learning. They talk about a lot of practicality. They talk about doing and actually doing things differently. They talk a lot about innovation and creativity. So it's very important to merge into that new education policy, the next generation. And besides that, for campuses, even NAC, the Accreditation Council, they are looking a lot at entrepreneurship. I mean, I on campus have gone through 3 NAC cycles, and believe me that they have given a lot of brownie points to entrepreneurship. Engaging in entrepreneurship, the students who are doing entrepreneurship given a lot of brownie points. And basically for the students who are not only starting the ventures, it's not only for those starting ventures, but it's also very important for others to do well in any field, whether they are sitting for a company job, placements, or whether they want to start their own venture, or whether they want to study further and get into a very good academic institute. They are tested on their entrepreneurship skills. Basically, think differently, think innovatively, think creatively, think out of the box, change the box completely. So nurturing them on those skills is very, very important in campuses today. And that is why we feel that, it's very important to have entrepreneurship education, nurture these students in the campus today. Yeah, Dr. George, and you also very rightly answered, what motivated you into joining entrepreneurship. Absolutely.
Yeah, ma'am. I would like, since you talked about exponential learning, somewhere in the year 2012, our society, SIS society, led by Dr. V. Shankar, we decided to adopt a village called as Kautewadi, which is about 80 kilometers from Mumbai. The idea was, to give our students an experiential learning about social entrepreneurship. What are the problems which is faced in a village? How do you tackle it? Whether it is sanitation, financial literacy, even basic sanitation, cleanliness, and also how to improve the overall conditions. So I had a lot of students from NCC, NSS, virtually all departments, and teachers and non-teaching staff from our college and our sister colleges have been going there. In the process, the students are coming out to be very vibrant, and some of them are getting much better placements based on this experience, because their soft skills improve, their team leadership improves, and also the way they think differently. So they are able to adapt to any crisis, because if you are in a village on your own, what should you do at that time is a rapid fire answer to be given at that time. And I think my students have done very well from a college. And in the process, many of them have got very good jobs. I'm talking right from 2012.
Fantastic. So, Dr. George, like I feel also, do you feel that social entrepreneurship is very, very important today? And
Yes.
Yeah, and I can just talk about, my students did a project with AIC RMP, Connecting Dreams, where they had to adopt the rural village. And fortunately, there were quite a few teams that went on to the finale. This dealing with the villages, going there actually to the root level and doing projects with them has really sensitized them on so many issues, and has given them so much of learning. And thanks to this opportunity given to them by AIC RMP, they did wonderful social projects. And even in my ECell, I do a social entrepreneurship, a mega social entrepreneurship project every year. And social entrepreneurship is so important because we have so many. What do entrepreneurs do? They actually tackle problems. So social entrepreneurship makes them think not only about themselves and their profitability, but makes them do something really good for the society. And in the same time, they are also doing good for themselves. They are earning. There's a misconception that social enterprises don't earn, nothing of that sort. They are also doing very well. And even doing the challenges in a social enterprise is so many that here is where they really need handholding. They need a lot of mentoring, they need a lot of guidance, they need a lot of incubation support. This is where social enterprises also, and a lot of my students are doing social enterprise NGOs. So many of them have got successful NGOs, are involved with successful NGOs and doing really very well today. What do you say about, I've heard of some fantastic social ventures coming from your institute, Dr. George.
Yeah, like in the current year, my team of students with Connecting Dreams Foundation, they worked with the village school where students are there up to the 5th standard. One of the teachers expired during COVID due to a heart attack. So there's only one teacher for the entire campus. So my students were preparing videos, as well as, they were sending in some educational links to these students. So the students' parents were given all this guidance. It was a backup. In this COVID times, this is what my students did under Connecting Dreams Foundation this year. And the next batch of students are working on bringing out a magazine where they will indicate what are the possibilities a student can go after the 10th and 12th, which I feel is very much important for the village students. So this is a forum which is being taken up by my group of students. Then in the social enterprise thing, what did you do in the village? The idea was experiential learning for students, but indirectly it was an experiential learning for all the teachers involved in the college. The teachers were also a part of the setup. Teachers as well as students from our college, everyone used to go there turn by turn. It is not mandatory, but I think people enjoy going there once they started learning. So we have done for these tribal women there. First of all, we had to empower them. They were not willing to come out and talk to us. So the students would go to the houses, visit them, break the ice. Through the children, they started carrying out a lot of activities. Now, really speaking, they have overcome the problem of alcoholism in the village. When we went there, alcoholism is very high. Now it has come down to just 1% or 2%, which itself is an achievement. There is no toilet blocks in the village. Today, every house is a toilet. In addition to the toilet blocks we have built. We have spent about 1.90 crores of management there for building the entire village. And seeing our work, L&T has sponsored solar lighting in the village.
Fantastic. This is a superb achievement, Dr. George. And how do you think that, did you need a support? Did you need mentoring for this? Did you need an incubation support, or did you need mentoring for this kind of a huge mega project?
No, I think it just happened. I think it just happened that we learned on the job. There is nothing I will tell you that we had taken my BMS students and we had done survey in 3-4 villages before deciding to come onto a particular village. So they learned how to do the mapping of the entire village. Then this took a process about a year and a half before they started developing the village. When we went there, most of the houses were all thatched ones. We were able to replace about 32 houses completely. Then some of the houses we did partially build. We built the toilets. We did rainwater harvesting. We improved the facilities in the school. All this was done by the entire team of staff and students of SIS College. But we were supported in a big way by the management because they gave us the courage to go ahead and do it. So unless you've got a support and a backing, you're not able to do anything.
Yes.
And I think that flexibility is there in SIS, that if you're willing to do something, you have got support of everyone, the principal and the entire staff.
Yes, Dr. George, I completely agree with you.
That's the best project which is going on there is, preparing lab aprons. We supply the material to them, they stitch it, and then I am selling it in our college, St. Xavier's, Jayendra also, and Kirti College. So we'd like to expand it because only last year, because of COVID, there was no sale of aprons. But then we plan to do it and make it into a big, small-scale industry, where there are so many colleges in Mumbai University, we can distribute everywhere and very competitive prices compared to what you're getting outside. And we are stitching pure cotton, not polyester, because that tends to catch fire very easily as compared to cotton.
Excellent, Dr. George, excellent. And yes, I agree with you that support, the students get a very conducive, supportive environment in the campus, and they can really nurture themselves into entrepreneurs through campus-led initiatives. Suppose the students did not have you and your like-minded faculty, it would have been difficult. And these like-minded faculty are supported a lot by the management. So management support, which is very, very strong, even in Jai Hind. In Jai Hind, entrepreneurship has become a way of life. Everyone is so involved, and we thankfully got even RUSA funding to take our entrepreneurship ahead. So we've got support of everybody, and entrepreneurship has become very interdisciplinary now. It's not only restricted. Earlier, it used to be restricted to only students of business or commerce or administration who wanted to do business. But today I have seen that there are a lot of science students, there are a lot of students of humanities, unaided courses. They all want to do something, start their own venture, maybe not immediately, but down the line. So they get nurtured in that process. And in that process, they really need a campus support by way of having a structured approach, like an e-cell, entrepreneurship cell, supported, backed by, coordinated by very passionate faculty who are well trained, well educated, and they also need the support of the management. And that's how, it just keeps going.
Madam, could I ask you a question?
Sure.
Madam, I think you started your e-cell way back in 2007. It's nearly 14 years ago. And I think you have got more than 650 students. How did you manage to do this?
Yeah, it's a challenge, sir, because our students come from across the faculty. So one thing is that when we started e-cell in 2007, we had a membership of 80 students. The very next year jumped to 300, because the kind of activities and the kind of work that we do, the kind of student entrepreneurs that are churned out of our campus every year, students have realized that they are doing something different. They are having a lot of fun while doing it. And the end goal is not only marks or academic records, they are bringing home money. They're bringing home satisfaction. They're bringing home independence. They're bringing home empowerment. So all that nurtured together, the word of mouth spreads, and we started getting increased membership. Online has not been a problem at all, because everybody could attend and we had a lot of attendance. Offline becomes a problem. Is why? Because we have students from across. So if we are having an activity at a particular time, there's one faculty that's having a Viva, there's one faculty that's having a guest lecture, one faculty is having engaged in a festival, their subject festival. But no matter at any point of time. This year we have 650 members because it was online, we went up. Otherwise, we can't accommodate more than 500. So because 500 is the capacity of our hall, and taking into account 100 students absenteeism, we could only manage that. But this time online, we just went on taking. And others, it becomes very difficult to manage students from all campus. But at any one point of time, there are 150 to 200 students who are there in your activities, which is even too difficult for us to manage, especially when we are doing experiential activity. So we are excited about it. We are enthusiastic about it. Students enjoy, they have great fun. Our activities, because of the large number of crowd, goes on for 5-6 hours in a day, and we have half day workshops, full day workshops. But at the end of the day, we are churning out entrepreneurs, we are churning out entrepreneurs, and we are nurturing a very strong entrepreneurial mindset. So Dr. George, so we get a lot of support from mentors. I've started an alumni mentoring cell, which consists of my alumnus mentors. And we get a lot of support from other well-established organizations. Like we have AIC RMP, we are associated with AHA Ventures, which is one of the very large seed funding, support in the ecosystem. So also associated with some other associations. And these people give us a lot of high-level mentoring, a lot of opportunities for the students to go and try out real life projects. And our student ventures, we have business plan competitions. So our students have they get seed funding by some of the angel investors we call in. And many of my students who were totally inspired by eCell today have become angel investors. So they always come and they support by angel investing, and other angel investors from other organizations and institutions also. So this mentoring is very, very important, Dr. George. And we do this. We have a lot of multifarious activities. What kind of activities do you have in your campus? I would like to know before I tell you about my activities that we have.
Now, to begin with, we started the eCell very little differently. Like, I used to be visiting IIT quite often whenever there's a e-summit. And I was in contact with Dr. Aparna from Desai Sethi School of Entrepreneurship. So her daughter was a student of our college. So that's how I interacted with her. She said, George, why don't you think about doing something for the students on these lines? So I made it a point to attend workshops there whenever they're holding. After attending the workshops, she said, I will come to your college and initiate the eCell. So we had the eCell president of IIT Mumbai at that time, Mr. Kesha Arora. So both of them came and addressed the students on how to go about building your product. And then within a space of about 2 months, we had a competition based on your idea. So how is an idea can be converted? For that, I had a lot of my alumni coming in as judges. Like, we had 5 or 6 of them were very good. Like one of them is Bhavesh Kotari, there is Mahesh Pujari, Rashmi. All these people came and helped on Harini Srinivasan, who gave lectures on converting your idea. How do you convert an idea into a product? And some of them are very good. They are giving lectures even in Indian Institute of Management. So I had a good backing. The alumni support was very good. Then sometime in the month of June, by chance, I don't know, maybe it's God's hand or God's will, that I came to Atal Incubation Center, Rambagh Malgir Prabodhini in June when there was a conclave. So the full day attended, but I had invited about 5 more students of mine to come there. So they got a first time insight on this startup world. And then I got in touch with Uday sir, and then that's how we carried a journey further, where he started mentoring us. We had a MOU signed. And then he would come for lectures, and I had a lot of experts coming in, and also had a lot of mentors coming in from AIC RMP, like Vaibhav Golap and Pratemesh Taria. They came and gave lectures to my students. Then every year we have been doing a wide variety of programs. And suddenly I find that in the space of 2 years, there are very varied products which have been prepared by my students, especially in this COVID. There is Mr. Yash Ajari has prepared a COVID sanitizer box, COVID lamps, COVID conveyance belt. Then he has got a smart timer,
There's a lot to learn, sir. It's not perfect. There's always much to learn. But yes, I have been successful in getting lovely 16 mentors and some of my mentees themselves. Like I have a very good mentee. His name is Abdul. He's Abdul Sabuwala. He's doing this Holo Siksha. He's in EdTech. Now, again, something very, very pertinent for COVID. EdTech is really coming up, very needed. So he's using this holographic aspects, immersive aspects in his education process. And he learned a lot through these courses, which these incubators have, like AIC RMP, started off with that. Then I sent him for other courses at SP Jain Global. I sent him for another incubator. Finally, now he's got Sign IIT support. And, after learning so much, not only that they develop their product, and he's very much in demand now. He's, really looked upon with a lot of respect by a lot of investors and things like that. The thing is that he's also, I have inculcated him also in my mentoring cell. So when these people with such rich experience got through the ecosystem, when they come and they act as good mentors, it really helps her. And something very unique about my e-cell is that, I don't repeat an activity I repeat the activity after every 3 years. So a gamut of activities we have done, because when I feel that a student who joins an FI, they don't leave us till they graduate. It's very rare that a student joins us in FI and they say we don't want to continue in SY or TY as e-cell members. Very rare, unless some personal problems, but they continue. So I see to it that they get a different experience always. There's one thing that I have common is a boot camp where it's a generation of ideas and they learn business modeling and etc. Where I have different judges every time. I don't repeat the judge, in 3 years. So the judges come with a different exposure, different experience. Students have different ideas. They work on the ideas. So it's a lot of activities we keep doing. Social entrepreneurship is in big way. Now I can just talk about, we joined hands with NGO Voice Vision this year. This Voice Vision looks after the disabled people, especially the blind, but all disabled people we took, and they mentor them to start. They have a business plan competition and they mentor them to start their ventures. It was so successful. And my e-cell was the one that organized, coordinated, everything, mentored them. Each one had to be handhold, mentored, because because of the disability they couldn't make the slides. Now who helped them? All my mentors in the mentoring cell came forward. They took special coaching classes for them. Somebody taught them marketing, somebody taught them pitching, somebody taught them design, somebody taught them modeling. Faculty was also roped in. We took over 3 months, we mentored them, and they came up to this competition where in the finale they got not only reporting in newspapers, but they got seed funding. The judges themselves who were there, who were very renowned, immediately
Very good,
said that,
ma'am.
okay, I'm sponsoring
Congratulations.
you this, I'm sponsoring. But sir, this is all possible because of the lot of mentoring coming from the ecosystem. And my ECEL students themselves, because of the kind of activities they're exposed to, and because I do two types of courses, elementary course and advanced course, this made my students act as mentors, initial mentors. So they scrutinized all them, then they took them to the higher level. So with all our kind of entrepreneurial exposure that they get on campus, getting different speakers, and I even had 2 incubatees from Atal Incubation RMP act as in my mentor cell now. And they're also doing tremendous work. So all the rich exposure that they get from outside, they come and they give workshops, they expose the students. So it's a mentor cell should be very important, sir, for all the campuses to start.
It's what you're saying is perfectly correct, ma'am. And I also would tell you that those mentors who are coming from AIC RMP are really good because they spoke to our students very well and have guided them. And many of them have picked up. Even the small bits of information which they get is enough to transform a particular. You change the mindset. And
Absolutely.
basically, we also have to understand one thing, that is not only I may not necessarily everyone may not become an entrepreneur, but since your skill sets are improving, the job placements are much better, ma'am.
Absolutely.
And I noticed that many of them, I know one of the girls, she out of so many people, she's the first one to get the job this year. But because she was a part of that urban challenge, Connecting Dreams Foundation.
Yes.
So
and not only that, sir, even now when they want to go abroad for further education, they need this social orientation, they need this entrepreneurial. So I'm looking after placements also in Jahin, started ECEL and placement cell at the same time. I realized that a lot of placement companies are picking up students who already have their ventures. And one thing, when I asked them, I said, you know that they are entrepreneurs, they might not stay on with you for a long time. So what's the inevitable reply? That, ma'am, even if they bring so much value to the table, even if they are there with us for 6 months, we are happy. That is the respect that entrepreneurs get. That is how they change everything.
No, I think
so what are the challenges you have faced in setting up an ECEL and in?
Now, to begin with, to get the problem is, we are having different streams and the timings are varied. It spreads from 7 in the morning right up to 3 in the evening. So getting all of them together at one time becomes very difficult.
Yes.
That is a big problem. Initially, funding was a problem, but with RUSA coming in, I have no problem about funding at all. I can manage.
Yeah.
And you need to, what challenge, the main challenge I faced was, to get students with a correct mindset. But I think that takes time. It cannot happen, in a 6 months. But I think that over a period of time, there's good continuity. To begin with, the first set of students are very, very good, Aditya Anamaka, so that, they were able to build the second lot. So the next 2 years have been very good. This year we did. So basically, I think continuity is a very important factor, and we should tap them in the first year. So they remain with us for 3 years, and then they can act as mentors for the next coming batches later. This is what I feel.
Yes, sir. Very true. Very true. And
ma'am, did you face any challenges when you started?
Yeah. First, of course, that time we never had, when I started in 2007, we never had RUSA funding and things like that. We never had Prime Minister Modi supporting entrepreneurship. It's all now becoming very smooth sailing. We never had so many schemes, so many institutions, but so we found a way of self-sustaining ourselves. And we started charging a very minimal 50 rupees membership fee, which today, after so many years, remains 100 rupees. But because we get so many members, we get that initial capital. When we have big events, we get sponsors to sponsor these events. So we are self-sustaining. We have enough funds. We manage alumni, sometimes also support us with funds. Now we have RUSA funds also. So we are managing pretty well with that. That challenge is over now. To get like-minded staff, so that's very important. So FDPs, to manage to get the staff join these faculty development programs, which all these incubators and all are having now, it's very, very necessary. I'm telling you, if I had not attended the NEN faculty development program, I would have never been where I am today. It was with the push of my principal, my earlier principal, Dr. Kirti Narayan. She pushed me into, she said, I said, ma'am, I have so many things on my portfolio. Where you're pushing me into entrepreneurship? She said, just go and attend that workshop. Go and attend that FTP. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. I went there and I came back next day and I said, ma'am, when are we starting an ECell? I was that, FDPs also really change your perspective so much that you are motivated to do something. So having like-minded faculty, the push from the management to let them join an FDP. I have known of an institute where I was appointed as a mentor, a very good institute. I was appointed as a mentor and the principal was very excited about starting ECell, but the staff was not willing to take this up at all. So, once they attend FDPs, they will change and they need the staff support. Students cannot manage alone. They need that staff support. So that's another big challenge I find. Structuring the ECell, as you said, managing the different students. But sir, we have to manage. And, even if out of 500 students, 50 are the very good students will become entrepreneurs, 10%, sir, our work is done. Even 5 good entrepreneurs every year, our work is done.
Yeah, I think
so we have to keep ourselves,
correct, madam. Correct.
Faculty has to keep ourselves motivated, get maximum inputs. Today, the ecosystem has so much to offer. So we have to get that maximum inputs from the ecosystem and we have to manage to make it.
Yeah, ma'am.
So, sir, one last question I want to ask you. Have you met with any failures, student failures, and in your time period?
Yeah. Yes, the same boy Yash Hazare had failed once or twice, but then
how did you manage him?
No, like he was feeling. He said that getting the product into the market is not as simple as you think. You would the people would say that we will accept your product, but then finally it doesn't happen. But then even during the COVID time, I was mentally mentoring him, supporting him, and finally he was able to get the product out. But the thing is, you would require mentoring to be done on person-to-person basis. You cannot have a general type of mentoring. And teachers should also realize that we can do work with small batches. You cannot do it in hundreds. If you take 20 students, you work on them. If you've got 5 mentors, then it works much better.
So today Yash is doing very well, right?
Yeah.
So we can't call him a failure. And this is what entrepreneurship does. My students come back to me, ma'am, our goals have not been met. Our expectations have not been. So what? We've started another venture.
No,
so
that's
what entrepreneurship. Failure is not a part of their venture at all.
He's coming out with 5 products, ma'am. 5 products. But for that, there was a 3-month period during COVID, where I was continuously behind him. So today he has got 5 products and he's still thinking. So I would say that mentoring plays a big part. That's the biggest challenge we have. And earlier what used to happen is we are face-to-face in college. So we could meet them. Now it is all remote, but still I think it works.
Yes. So I think we can conclude, Dr. George, by inspiring the youth and the faculty that entrepreneurship is the need of the day. It changes us. I have become an entrepreneur. I have become an entrepreneur. You are also thinking of starting your own venture, Dr. George. I think now any situation I'm put in, I think differently. I think innovatively, and that is thanks to my entrepreneurial journey. That it constantly keeps you in touch with everything relevant in the environment. It keeps you in touch with these young, excited students, and it makes you feel young all the time. And I think we both should, tell our students, tell the youth and other faculty that, go for it. And entrepreneurship is something that will change you, your future, everything.
No, the thing is, many teachers should realize that, it forms an open area for consultancy also to come in, which is very important from NAAC point of view. So if you are going to become a consultant, the college will also be doing well. You will also be doing well in the process.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, absolutely. So yes, that is very, very, very much needed. And consultancy, mentoring. You can charge for your mentoring. You can have consultancy. You can run courses and grab all the opportunity that the ecosystem is giving you so much today by way of so. I remember 2007 there was incubator. I didn't know. I had to look up the meaning. What means incubator? What means accelerator? And today we have them all over. We have mentors all over. We have seed funders all over. We have angel investors, venture capitalists. So thank you, George. We really enjoyed discussing this,
Thank you,
and
ma'am. Thank
we
you,
can
ma'am.
keep
Thank you,
going
ma'am.
on for another hour discussing a lot of our student achievements and the triumphs and the challenges, but I think we need to stick to the time.
Thank you, ma'am.
So
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you so much. Really enjoyed discussing with you, Dr. George.
I've also
Thank
learned a
you.
lot today. I've
Yeah,
also learned a
absolutely.
lot from you today.
No, I did too. Thank you, AIC RMP, for giving us this wonderful opportunity. And thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. George.
Thank you, Uday sir and Pallavi, for giving me a chance to be on this program. And I think this is the best part of my experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time, Dr. George and Hasina ma'am. Hasina ma'am, I still remember when we used to come down to your campus 2010, searching for faculty, students, setting up ESL, and your journey of faculty development programs. I think that's amazing. What we all are into is transforming lives, right? I mean, what we really talk about is transforming lives or doing that transformation at campuses. And that journey is possible only because of faculty, mentors like you. So again, I mean, we have all the youth at our campuses having their time spent on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, and all. I believe those platforms are good enough, but if at all, if they take up entrepreneurship and start working on their business ideas effectively, I think that's much more worthwhile. I believe the entire idea of doing this particular Baatcheet was all about how do we really create entrepreneurs from campuses, and you gave very wonderful insights, and these are all hands-on from your each of the campuses. I think there are a lot of SIES, Jai Hind colleges all across India, not just in Mumbai. Why do we restrict ourselves to Mumbai? I think a lot of tier 2 and tier 3 towns, you would find campuses wherein they want to encourage students to take up entrepreneurship. And we are seeing that happening as well from different streams, not just only commerce colleges or engineering campuses, even from design schools, and very interesting elements have been around students and alumni working together. I think that's also a very important part. But the most important part, I think we didn't, because of in the interest of time, we might not have touched upon, is about the networking. And I know how good you both are in the networking part of it, um, in really aligning your vision to other people, and then ensuring that the right people can become a part of your journey, your entrepreneurship initiatives and journey. And I've seen, Hasina ma'am, that the kind of associations, the networks that you have leveraged or explored over a period of time, that's amazing. I know that if at all, if I would say that if any student is looking out for mentors, you would have more than 100 mentors in your phone book that you can reach out to. And also about the angel investors and the alumni network, or anyone that you would call up would really come back and contribute. And that's what I believe that out here we are here for, is giving back to the community. And George sir, I know, I mean, how good you are in terms of keeping those relationships and maintaining those relationships. I think networking relationship, that plays a very important role, which I believe that all academic institutions, they have been doing it for ages. But if they use this for entrepreneurship or creating entrepreneurs, I think there will be tremendous value out of it. So really appreciate this. With this, I would just like to touch upon a couple of initiatives that we have at AIC RMP as well. So we've started with pre-incubation. So through Smart India Hackathon, we started pre-incubating the winners of Smart India Hackathon through AICTE MHRD in the year 2018-19, long back. And then after that, currently we are now pre-incubating two of the winners of St. Xavier's ESL competition. We have more than 10 plus academic institutions as our partners. And now we are working out on a very deliverable driven MOUs. Why I say this, there are a lot of MOUs. So there are generic MOUs as well, but then we would love to work very closely with certain campuses that are committed and want to see results of what I say is building a strong entrepreneurship ecosystem at the campuses. So that is also, I call this as a professional engagement. So AIC RMP is moving towards that, and soon we would see a couple of campuses joining that as professional engagement with us. We launched AIC RMP Academy. That's an online academy. We launched it during COVID last year. And then what we realized is we could do a lot of initiatives, not just for students, but also faculty. So we run faculty development programs. There are foundation program for budding entrepreneurs, which Yash was a part of, which George sir really spoke about. And even Abdul was a part of the second batch. We are looking out for interns and manager portfolio position. I think anyone from campuses, alumni, they can reach out to us. So we invite other campuses to students as well as alumni to be a part of our initiatives, leverage the strength of AIC RMP, which is all about community, mentors that we have, the incubatees, the startups that we have. And they are more than happy to really come to your campuses, share their journey. And at the end of the day, it's all about not just experiences. So earlier we all used to say that let's create entrepreneurs. I think it's a journey which is more about inspirational, which it starts off with. So in the initial phase, you would inspire students, you would create entrepreneurs through those inspirational activities. But over a period of time, you'll have to move to supporting entrepreneurs as well. And that's where incubators like us can play a critical role in bringing out the right resources. That includes mentors, funding opportunities, and opening up the doors. That's networking. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed your discussion, and we encourage more and more of our community to be a part of our Baatchit. This is the 6th episode, and we really are hoping and looking forward to more and more contributions so that such conversations can lead to not just inspiring more entrepreneurs, but also showcase the work. With that, last but not the least, you have been too modest, both of you. I would love to extend each and everyone on this forum that Dr. Hasina Syed, she has been a great mentor. She takes up startups right from idea to venture creation stage as well. So if you want to reach out, please reach out to her not just for mentoring your startup, but also at campuses. She does fabulous sessions for campuses. And even George sir has been really encouraging a lot of student entrepreneurs, and he has got certain ideas on incubation and pre-incubation. So he can certainly help other campuses as well. So with that, gratitude. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate. Thanks for investing your valuable time.